Hi, everybody. Have you ever watched the movie Julia and Julia with Meryl Streep and Amy Adams? Well, it's a movie based on a true story about a gal in the early 2000s when blogging was the big thing, and now it's vlogging. And gosh, there'll be YouTube Oscars next. But at any rate, Julia was her name, and she was a journalist, and she wanted to do something. So she did one recipe of Julia Child's every day for 1 year. And I'm doing this because I've been exposed to Catholicism, Lithuanian, Trinity United, Orthodox, Anglican, um, and I've lived my life. Okay, I've lived 54 years, so I would say 80% of my life I've led really, really well, and 20% has been a disaster. And I think that everybody can relate to all of that: loss, curiosity, goals, and being alive matters, and life is a beautiful thing. And you only really remember that if you come out of something so dark and you survive it and you're not a biting dog and you're a good person. But what constitutes a good person? That's subjective. However, today is technically the 29th of January of 2026. And in 16 hours, Sophie would have passed away this very time last year. So I have flutters in my heart, but I'm dedicating this to Sophie because Sophie got me through the wheelchair in the year. Sophie got me through the corrective surgeries. Sophie was with me in the days where I was sweating and chilling in bed, and of course my mother, you know and families have issues, and that's a sad thing too. So, in honor of the people that have helped me in life along the way, and today at Bible study, you spend an hour talking about why it's so important to give yourself up to something bigger than yourself. And some people use music as a form of that. But that also constitutes a lot of ego because people are very easily triggered by criticisms. That's a natural human response. A lot of people have anxiety the way I do right now. And if I turned off this camera right now, my anxiety could turn into crying over Sophie, and there could be a healing and factor in that. And I will cry about her, and it could be in a month because grief does come in waves. And in no account did I mean that in reference to Candace Owens, but Candace Owens just triggered my mind because she was talking about, she's doing a series about grief. And if you want to find out about it, you can go to Candace Owens. So today I'm going to start reading my first ever time reading the Bible in its entirety, and it says January the 1st, but I started a little late. However, better late than never. That's the way I see it. And I'm not going to be able to read very much tonight, and this is the real reason why. I'm dehydrated because I wasn't taking care of myself the way I should have and deserve to be taken care of, and the only person that can do that is oneself. I already know that, and I haven't been to therapy. I should have been, believe me. Gosh, if I had had therapy years ago. However, it wouldn't have led me to this moment, so I don't believe in coincidences, and I'm curious as to what the Bible says. So here we go. And not this week, but next week I'll have a pair of glasses. Okay. Genesis 1:1, 2, 2, 5. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. As I read through the Bible so I don't get a copyright, it's broken down in an excellent way to understand. So if I were to translate this back into however many thousands of years this is was written, this particular version is from 1978, the Constitute on Bible Translation. And I did receive this from a dear friend of mine, Charlie, and he is 77 and has more energy than me on some days, on most days. But when they talk about in God being, opening the heavens and the earth, and the earth was formless and it was empty and it was dark and it was over the surface of the earth, and it was the God and the hovering of the waters. And then it says God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. God saw the light was good, and so he separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening, and there was morning, the first day. So this is day one. That's the way it was explained to me. In for people who have studied the Bible, my eyes actually hurt from reading this. So yes, I am going to get glasses because I really want this to work and I want to learn from it, and I hope that you can take something from it too. But it says the Spirit of God. So where I get stuck is the Big Bang Theory. And what led me to really wanting to set this goal and following through on it is, if you go through a trauma and you have a curiosity about something, and you have anxiety, I am a testament to what can happen if that anxiety is not channeled in the correct way. And it takes a fortress and a lot of coals to burn a steak. And if there's nobody but you, no matter how old you are, and it's worse when you're younger. Um, but sometimes when you're younger, you have more support. So you can look at that from any perspective. So I empathize with both. But it's the Spirit of God and the Big Bang Theory. If you look at quantum physics, And if you delve into that, and if there's any mathematicians out there or anybody who understands quantum physics, there is something that a particle that scientists has been looking for called the God particle, and I'm unsure, so don't take my word on this. It either debunks God or answers the fact there is a God. Okay? So I have to research that myself, and I want to do that without just looking at AI. AI is going to make all of us stupid. Stupid! um, Meaning we're not. And we are letting these oligarchs in the Bible, it talks about it the whole time. It was the conscious Pilate that crucified Christ. I'm getting ahead of myself, but that's where I really do believe that Christ existed as far as the resurrection. The Son of God, I don't know, because I also believe in apparitions, and we're looking back at a time, and this is the Old Testament, where people believed in a higher being, and prior to that there was um Greek mythology. So, you know, theology is everything. Understanding our history really defines who we are as people, who we want to define ourselves as parents, as friends, as lovers, as caregivers. But one thing the society is losing is connection. And so I hope that me reading a little bit of this every day and just sharing my thoughts will encourage you to share your thoughts in the comments. Even if you want to talk about Candace and grieving differently, I'm going to listen to that episode because my eyes are so sore they're closed right now. So I need to go get glasses. Or at least get some reading glasses for tomorrow night. So, in spirit, Sophie Anne, Mom, Nana, Papa, Baba, Dida, Margaret, Janie, David, Dad, Teresa, Nina, Luba, and my mother survived Sandy. That's another story for another day. Anyways, today in church, we were talking about using God's name in vain and how to use it. Well, really, in old Judaism, you weren't allowed to say the word Yahweh, which I don't know if you remember that song. I can't sing right now, it's late. Yahweh, I know you are here. So, anyways, well, that was a lot for me to unwrap tonight, and I stayed on track. So, yay! I'm proud of myself, and I wish you all a good night. And I will read all comments tomorrow. And take care of yourselves. And that is a wrap. And I'll be doing this every night before I go to sleep. I'm doing this myself. So if I'm doing this myself, if you want to join me on this um, nightly journey, and I am following through with this, I've tried on this channel to follow through with a lot of different things. And I think this is the thing. Not the thing. This is the book. This is the time. I feel a real shift coming in my life. I remember when COVID came, I knew there was going to be a global consciousness change. I didn't know what it was or else I just really wanted my stuff back so badly, but I knew in 2019, if I didn't get it back by 2020, I was a goner. And then I got COVID 2010, but I did get my stuff back between November the 17th and December the 3rd, and it came to through Vancouver, and it came through China, and there's a lot of Asian in Vancouver, in downtown Vancouver and in North Vancouver, and I'm just saying because that's where it came from. I don't know. I didn't mean that in any negative way. Okay, that is a wrap. Have a great sleep. And do you know, I was never able, and I don't know how all of you sleep at night. Everybody has a routine. I'm trying to set one, but I woke up this morning at 4 and I went with Charlie and we shoveled snow. So that's what I was doing this morning in the video that I put up today, if you want to watch it. And it's about 3 minutes. It's just me shoveling snow at a church, but it's a beautiful day if you like scenery and things like that. So this is where I lose my train of thought. My eyes hurt. My eyes are closed as well. I'll remember the thought and I'll pick it up from where I left off there, because that's probably where I was going to pick it up tomorrow. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow, this time before night, you know? So, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, for thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.